But he also found a way to reach out to people and to do things for other people that sometimes he couldn't even do for himself. And so that's touched us very much. Deanna, I'll let you come up and talk now. Hopefully I won't start the microphone. Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Dan Scheffner, to anyone who doesn't know me, and I was Johnny's cousin. It's so nice to see so many members of John's family, his extended family, his friends, and just everyone that who he touched here today. It's a testament, I think, to how loved Johnny was and how meaningful his impact on all of our lives was and will surely continue to be. And my heart goes out to his parents, my Aunt Teresa and Uncle John, to his sister, my cousin Johanna, to his nephews and niece, Caden, Liam, and Maddie, to his grandmother, to his first mother, Terry, to his biological sister, Ashley, and to everyone who's here today. Now, John, or Johnny as I usually called him, was my cousin, but much more than that, he was my oldest friend. And we grew up together. We went to the same high school. He was the best man at my wedding. And one day I hope to be the best man at his. And even as we grew older, and we took different paths in life, when it had been a long time since we last talked or since we'd last been together, at our next encounter, we would pick off right where we left off, as if there had been no pause or interruption. And I think that really is the mark of a true friend. It was a friend that I was lucky to have. It was a friend who was truly a kind person. Now, John was only about a year younger than I, a little over a year. So our closeness and age really made us natural allies at Orso family events, where if you weren't careful, you were liable to be swept up in the sea of our respective 8 pairs of aunts and uncles and 20 or 30 or 100 cousins that were always running around. And being pretty close and pretty much the same age, John and I had a lot in common. Growing up, we influenced each other in terms of the music we listened to, the movies we watched, the comedians we liked. Video games we played. He always liked more of the shooting ones. I think you probably know him, wouldn't be surprised to hear that. We would watch the same movies or videos over and over and over again, to the point where we could recite whole chunks of scripts and videos to each other, and sometimes we would just do that in lieu of an actual conversation, which didn't make for the most substantive of content, but it was very fun. And to this day, memories of his impressions of the movies we watched really still make me laugh. I mean, he still did the best impressions of the various Roman officials and soldiers, apocalyptic prophets, Judean sectarians and disciples, and the Messiah from Monty Python's Life of Brian. And even when we got older, John could still leave me in stitches with his incredible memory for movie quotes, along with his original comedic observations. And John's sense of humor and his quick wit were really 2 of his defining characteristics. And they really do go far back, those characteristics. In a story that our mothers and others love to retell, when John and I were little kids, we were asked what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I was in a very serious dog phase at the time, and I said that I wanted to be a Dalmatian. And that seemed very natural to me. John, however, he was thinking in the same vein, but he didn't just want to parrot his older cousin, and he said he wanted to be a fire truck. Which I think really not only goes to his comedy, but also his thinking outside the box. I was always happy that we'd be working in the same field, but needless to say, neither of us achieved those early childhood dreams. But that's a story that really still makes us laugh, and that's something that John never had any trouble doing. And that's amazing to me because John experienced real difficulties in life. He did face real hardships on multiple fronts. But even when we would be discussing something serious about his health or about any other events in his life, he would almost always end up lightening the mood with his iconic, wry, and very smart sense of humor, as if he didn't want me to feel bad about anything that was happening in his life. And that was the exact conversation I had, the last conversation I ever had with Johnny. But that really does make sense because John was funny, John was witty, he was many things. But he was also an extremely conscientious and caring person. And that's a fact well demonstrated by the work he did for his fellow veterans, but also in each interaction that he had with his loved ones, and with friends, and with veterans. It was well demonstrated by his ability to listen and to empathize, and his fierce devotion to those whom he loved and cared for, and in particular, by his deep love and affection for his nephews and niece. And I, for one, will always be touched by how seriously he took his best man duties during my wedding, agonizing over his speech just as I agonized over this one, and providing much-needed support during a week-long, event-packed, exhausting Indian wedding. Now, John's life was too short, but as short as it was, he has given me a lifetime of meaningful memories. I'll never forget playing soldiers with the wooden rifles that our grandfather made for us. Little did I know that I was providing adolescent boot camp for future National Guardsmen. I'll never forget the two of us chasing Johanna, or running away from her because she had the gall to want to play with us. I'll always remember our sleepovers and watching our favorite movies, of high school band practice, and of sharing looks of mutual distress and frustration as one of our fathers, or both, decided to respond to an innocuous question with an extensive and very much unwelcome math or grammar or history lesson. Yes, John gave me a lifetime of memories. And for that, and for his kindness, his friendship, his strength and courage, for his service, and for his near constant mission to make the world laugh, I will always be grateful. Now, I think John would actually be pretty upset with this performance at the lack of reverence I've displayed and the substandard humor. So I think I will conclude with that. But I wanted to welcome anyone, if this is within the bounds of my jurisdiction, to come up and share any memories they do have of John.